is Clive Bourke from Daon. I'm the president of EMEA in Asia. What I do is I lead the business from customer identity, customer onboarding. What Daon does is we do customer identity verification, onboarding new customer, unknown person to unknown device into a trusted account holder. And then we also, on an ongoing basis, authenticate customers as they access accounts or approve transactions. And we apply risk signals, biometrics, deepfake detection to all of that. So that's what the company does, and I lead the EMEA and Asia business. Well, they're preparing, so conceptually they're prepared, meaning they've considered agentic, they've considered where the world is going. No one can predict exactly where we're going to land with the number of agents, the types of agents, the authorization of agents, but we all know that agentic is coming and has arrived to some degree already. So in terms of preparing, what most of them are trying to do is saying bolster their risk signals. How do I capture signals from whatever entity is interacting with me so I can then make a determination whether that's a legitimate entity or potentially a fraudulent entity. So trust signals and continuous trust is a big part of that story. And another part of the story is how does an agent acting on your behalf assert your identity when it needs to? And we think the answer to that is they'll take the identity from a wallet. So a wallet that you have, but your identity is in the wallet, it'll be issued to you, and then you'll give your agent authorization to access that wallet to assert your identity when need be. So there will always be a binding between the agent and the wallet and the person. And if you use biometrics and deepfake detection and liveness detection, whenever we expect it to be a human, we'll always know it's a human. Whenever we expect it to be an agent, we'll always be getting signals. The misconception is what you said in your question, that they think it's about someone can create an AI document and that document that was generated with AI will be the type of fraud vector that they will have. Whereas really what you're implying is that there's going to be almost like denial of service attacks, where there's attacks at scale hitting a fintech service and then potentially hitting contact centers or help desks or chatbots. And then somewhere in that scaled attack, some vulnerabilities will emerge, some hill climbing learnings will emerge, and so on. However, the defenses, the misconception from the public might be that the world is now going to have a tsunami of fraud, but in truth, that's not going to happen. Like, nothing was ever based on one single layer of defenses. Like, security is always about layers of defenses. So, for example, if you presented an AI-generated document to me today, we would just detect that in our system because it would be presented on the screen. And screen detection capability is really, really strong and always has been. Even if you get past that and did an injection of an attack, there's injection attack protection. Even behind that, there's the risk signals I mentioned earlier. And then behind that again, we do a lot of server-based machine learning, AI to detect AI as well. So AI to detect AI. So I don't know if that answers your question. Well, I wouldn't say they're defending the wrong front door, but there's another door. And that other door is attacking through those scenarios you mentioned, but also coming in pretending to be an employee of that company and asking for a reset of the credentials. So imagine if you say, I'm going to target the back office, I'm going to pretend to be Clive working in the back office, and then ask for a reset of my credentials. Now, there's obviously security protocols for that as well, but with AI and impersonation, it's potentially impossible to present as Clive and then have that reset. So now what companies are doing is doing what we call identity verification of workforce as well as end customers. So that track vector needs to be closed off because that's where the threat is coming. Because imagine then if you get a credential as a legitimate employee, then you can change a lot on a customer and so on. So that's where the defenses have been applied. It definitely doesn't work. You can't have a one-time proof of identity and leave that as a foundation forever or even for some duration. So we believe in a model of identity continuity, and that is several facets, but one facet is continuous trust. And continuous trust means that if I need to reproof a customer, I can reproof a customer at any time in the journey. If during a high-risk transaction I feel like I need to elevate trust, I can reach back and use same tooling for detecting AI, detecting deepfakes, for doing proofing a customer, use that during a high-risk transaction as well. So for us, it's always about being able to reproof a customer when you need to, and continuous trust. So every interaction we're collecting signals to see, has something in the landscape changed? Well, I'll tell you what good looks like. What good looks like is someone who says, I'm going to have this consistent identity experience for a customer, whether they're coming through a web channel, a mobile channel, or if you're a traditional business where you have a in-person channel as well. And then when you interact for ongoing business, that there's consistent identity experience, or in a recovery scenario where you're calling a contact center or using a chatbot, again, to reset your account, consistent experience. So this concept of identity continuity, where we always know your identity, we're always collecting signals, we're always doing continuous trust. That's what good looks like. And then elevating when you need to. So for example, an elevation might be a reproof, but an elevation could simply be, let's capture the customer selfie, and that in combination with the device and signals would be an elevated trust. Frictionless for the customer, but easy for the bank or the fintech to actually have really strong authentication of that customer. And where people are not doing that and still relying on one-time passwords or relying on strong customer authentication that has a lot of friction in it, or even indeed some people using passcodes and passwords as fallback mechanisms, those are not the best way forward. There's a way for passwordless, biometrics, continuous trust, silent authentication that makes the world a lot better for everybody.